November 17th, 2022, a 6-story building in Ruaka collapses on a neighboring house, killing 2 family members who were asleep at the time. 5 days later, more than 100 tenants living in another 5-story building in Ruiru are evacuated under the watch of Kiambu Governor Kimani Wamatangi after the flat showed signs of collapsing. The building collapsed hours after the evacuation.
Hiyo nyumba venye hata wewe ungeiona kabla haijaporomoka ungejua ungetarajia inaweza cause hiyo damage.
Data by the National Building Inspectorate on building tragedies in the last 5 years shows that 87 buildings have collapsed. About 200 people have lost their lives and 1,000 were injured, prompting the government to declare an all-out war against rogue developers.
Ule landlord anajenga nyumba ambaye inaporomoka na kuua watu 10, hakuna tofauti ya huyo mtu na ule magaidi ako huko North Rift anaiba ng'ombe na kuua watu.
Interior Cabinet Secretary Kithure Kindiki, who directed the National Security and Intelligence teams in collaboration with relevant county government officers to spearhead the exercise, blamed the increased collapse of buildings on poor workmanship, failure by the county governments to enforce compliance, and a deep-rooted corruption among national and county government officers.
All agencies of the government, from the National Construction Authority, the county governments responsible, agencies that are responsible for approval of buildings, our security teams led by the county commissioners must work together with the county government to crack down on contractors and builders who are putting up substandard buildings.
The warning comes days after a crackdown to rein in on rogue developers began in Kiambu County following the collapse of over 5 high-rise buildings in less than 2 years.
I have directed the National Security and Intelligence teams, especially in Kiambu, Nairobi, and other affected counties, to work together with the county governments of the affected counties to make sure that we crack down on unscrupulous contractors and builders who are putting up structures that are not fit for human habitation.
Kiambu Governor Kimani Wamatangi last year commissioned an audit of all residential and commercial buildings across the county to examine their structural integrity. Regulators such as the National Construction Authority have been blamed for weak oversight.
We are not going to wait for another house to collapse. Therefore, we want to preempt by making sure we enforce the law on regulation of buildings and construction activities.
After 8 buildings collapsed and killed 15 people in Kenya in 2015, the then President Uhuru Kenyatta ordered an audit of all the country's buildings to see if they were up to code. The National Construction Authority found that 58% of the buildings in Nairobi County were unfit for habitation, with 3 out of 10 buildings under construction within Nairobi County found to be non-compliant. Of all the buildings recorded to have collapsed in the country over the past 5 years, 65% were residential, 25% were commercial, and 10% were mixed-use development. Michelle Ngele, Odhiambo, K24 TV.